Is it maybe a hangover and overconfidence? Maybe a degree of arrogance? We've seen that with Liverpool in other games this season where they've probably underestimated their opponent. Maybe it's one eye on the Champions League fixture midweek and not really wanting to exert too much in this game. But that seems odd when they're back in the top four conversation. I don't really know what went wrong here because I thought taking Núñez off when they did was an odd change. Although he wasn't amazing, he was probably the most threatening player. A penalty miss away from taking a point from the game, and then it's a bit less of a talking point, I suppose. It just wasn't very overwhelming. And I think the major difference between the two fixtures, if you want to compare the 9-0 and the 1-0, was Bournemouth didn't play into Liverpool's hands. They held a deep line. They let Liverpool sit on the ball and let them try and dictate things, and they just didn't really have that many answers, and they defended resolutely. Whereas United left themselves susceptible to a counter-attack. So it was a completely different kind of fixture. I don't really know where the Real Madrid game falls in between that and what Liverpool will be expecting midweek. But it's an odd result for Liverpool, one that I'm sure they'll be really frustrated with because it didn't allow them to build on the momentum that they had from last weekend going into the Madrid game. Like this, they beat Bournemouth 9-0 earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So if they'd gone and spanked them again off the back of a 7-0 with Man United the week before, that's a huge amount of confidence you can take to that Real Madrid game. And now it's uncertainty again and indifference and inconsistency. It's not how they would have wanted it.
I think that's the kind of thing that's made me more surprised that this result's happened when it's happened, because you'd expect a ton of momentum, wouldn't you, from that Man United victory? And with Real Madrid on the horizon, we were talking about, well, you were, especially in the last pod, about how Liverpool now look nailed on for top four. And suddenly that's all been thrown into question again. It's that doubt, I think, that is frustrating for Liverpool fans, because it did look like they were climbing the league table when everyone around them looks so mediocre. And they struggled to struggled to get anything out of this Bournemouth game as well, when you'd think they'd have a ton of momentum. So I totally understand how Liverpool fans must be feeling right now. And I think for Jurgen Klopp, it raises more questions as well. Did they look tired in this game? I thought they did. I mean, we've said that a few times this season, haven't we, as a hangover from last season? But it's been a grueling season so far for many teams. But Bournemouth, to their credit, played really, really well, resolutely. Philip Billing got on the score sheet again. So we have to give credit to them too. But yeah, ahead of the Real Madrid game, I think Liverpool will be kicking themselves that they couldn't carry this momentum further.
The only saving grace for them is that the teams nearest to them, below them, drop points as well. So it's not like a massive detriment to their top four race. Obviously, Newcastle winning and Tottenham winning makes that slightly more complicated, but they're not looking even further down as they were slightly earlier in the season at Brighton, Fulham and Brentford. So they're still cementing themselves above that pack slightly. I don't know, though. It's inevitable that they'll go out of the Champions League tomorrow. I'll eat my heart if they don't. It'd be amazing to see them stay. This season's success only comes down to do they qualify for the Champions League for next season, which seems an odd position to be in if you're Liverpool. And they got such an amazing win last week that Liverpool fans must be in such a confused state because they don't know whether to be as public as they normally are by saying we're brilliant, or whether they should hide away in shame like they've been doing for most of the season.
And it's been a tough season for them. I think they've only won 3 games out of 13 on the road as well. So clearly away from Anfield, they're really struggling. What do we put that down to?
Maybe being figured out slightly. I think, obviously, when you are the away team, one of the things that really benefits Liverpool is how quickly they can counter a team and take them apart. Teams have started to almost play like they're the away team at their own home grounds against Liverpool. That helps. I think, obviously, they had this bedding-in period of trying to get the new forward line moving. And although I think we saw the best of Gakpo and Núñez against United, we also saw their kind of inconsistencies in this game and how they're still kind of forming that system. Obviously, Jota was back as well. That was interesting to see how he will migrate into that team. I just think that they haven't got that consistency because they don't have a consistent lineup too. Their midfield is changing every game. It changed again for this game. I don't really know what to expect for Liverpool at the moment, and I think they've got a lot of figuring out to do in the summer.